Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Monday, everybody. I hope your day and your week are off to a fantastic start. Got a new day, which of course means a new NBA player prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes a new opportunity to go ahead and make some money. I have 6 player props to go and share with you guys in tonight's NBA slate. But first, before we dive into tonight's picks, a quick little recap of how we did last night. And overall, guys, not very good, but also not very bad. We went 2-2 last night. We did actually lose a couple of units, like 0.32 units there because of the way we did the unit play. But overall, we had 50-50. 2 wins, 2 losses. We're now 44-42 on our single bets so far this year. We're still 1-6 in the parlays, although we're still profitable on the parlays despite the 1-6 record. And again, on Friday's Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay, once again, we lose by 1 leg very closely. But I would still say overall we're having a pretty solid season this far, but I do think we can do better than this. So let's see if we can't go ahead and improve these marks in today's slate. 6 player props, good chance to go ahead and make some money. Let's dive into today's picks. All right, guys, jumping right into the outlier screen here. Our first pick in today's slate comes from the Bulls-Pistons game, 7 p.m. tip-off. We're going Nikola Vucevic of the Chicago Bulls over 30.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. This is a DraftKings exclusive play, minus 125 on DraftKings here, this play for Nikola Vucevic. And this is a prop I've been flirting with all season long. If you guys don't know how my process works, I do about 45 minutes to an hour of research every morning before I dive into the video to find the picks that I like the most to go ahead and share with you guys. This is one pick that I've flirted with taking multiple times this year, and obviously, looking back on it, hindsight's always 20/20. Probably should have thrown it in the plays a couple times. He's been cashing at a really high rate this year. For a prop that has minus 125 odds, he's cashed it at an 86% hit rate so far this year. 12 out of 14 games he's cashed the over, averaging 32.86 points plus rebounds plus assists per game. It's been a really solid season for Vucevic, even going to his last 20 games dating back to last season, though, an 85% hit rate. 17 of his last 20 games dating back to last year, he's cashed the over, averaging 33.25 points plus rebounds plus assists per game. Overall last year, not bad numbers. 55% hit rate. He cashed in 43 out of 78 games for the Bulls last year, averaging 32.03 points plus rebounds plus assists per game. So really solid data across the board. And if that didn't convince you guys, the head-to-head data is pretty solid. Well, he cashed it in 3 straight games against the Detroit Pistons. Now, they have not played yet this year. This is the first meeting between the Bulls and the Pistons so far this season. But in each of the last 3 meetings dating back to last year, he cashed the over. He's averaging 33.25 points plus rebounds plus assists per game against the Pistons over the last 4 meetings. Some pretty big games too. The last time they played on April 11th, he had 27 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists in that matchup. So pretty good data there for Vucevic. And the head-to-head matchup looks to be pretty solid. The Pistons' overall defense has actually been pretty good this year. They are top 10 in all 3 categories: points, rebounds, and assists allowed to the teams in general. But versus centers, not great. 23rd in points allowed. That's bottom 10 in the league. They're 12th in rebounds, which is okay, and middle of the road 15th in assists allowed. So overall, pretty decent number spots there for the Detroit Pistons. It's a pretty good matchup here, and Vucevic has cashed this in 3 straight games against the Pistons. Give me the over here for Vucevic. Pretty solid spot. All right, guys, next up, we're moving on to the Pacers-Raptors game. 7:30 p.m. tip-off. We're going RJ Barrett of the Toronto Raptors under 37.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. Really good value on this prop as well. Minus 104 on FanDuel, minus 105 on DraftKings. So pretty good value on this prop. He's cashed this under at a 64% hit rate so far this year for Toronto. He's cashed it in 7 out of 11 games, averaging 34.55 points plus rebounds plus assists per game. And he's actually cashed this under pretty convincingly in a lot of his games. Now, the reason why the numbers look the way they do, he's had some really big games, including the last time out versus Boston on November 16th. He had a massive triple-double, 25 points, 10 rebounds, 15 assists, arguably the best game of RJ Barrett's NBA career thus far. He's had a couple big games that obviously skew the numbers in his favor. You see this game back on November 1st versus the Lakers. He had 33 points, 5 rebounds, 12 assists, a really big game there. He had a couple big games actually in that stretch versus Charlotte, the Lakers, and the Kings. Despite those big games, those overall, he is cashing the under at a 64% hit rate, so pretty solid. Even looking to his last 20 games, a 65% hit rate. 13 of his last 20 games dating back to last year, he's cashed the under, averaging 35.05 points plus rebounds plus assists per game. So the overall data is pretty good, but the head-to-head data makes it a little bit better. RJ Barrett has cashed this under in 3 consecutive games against the Indiana Pacers, averaging 32.33 points plus rebounds plus assists a game versus the Pacers. A pretty good match there. 3 straight cashes of the under against the Pacers. Pretty good numbers there for RJ Barrett. And look at the matchup stats now. Overall this year, the Pacers are not a very good defensive team. 25th overall in points allowed. They're actually top 3 in assists. Middle of the road, 17th in rebounds, but they're scoring. They have a lot of points per game. However, versus the shooting guard position, which is where RJ Barrett primarily plays for Toronto, they are exceptionally good defensively. First in rebounds, first in assists, 5th in points allowed. So really solid defensive marks for the Pacers against the shooting guard position. RJ Barrett does also play a little bit of minutes at the 3 spot, which they are also pretty solid in. 10th in points, 6th in rebounds. They are 28th in assists, which isn't very good. But overall, the moral of the story is it's a pretty solid defensive matchup for RJ Barrett. He's cashed it in 3 straight games against the Pacers. And although he's had a couple of big games, including the last time out, overall, so a 64% hit rate so far this year. All right, guys, next up, our third pick in today's slate. We're moving on to the Sixers Heat game, 7:30 p.m. tip-off. I'm going Terry Rozier of the Miami Heat over 17.5 points plus assists. We're getting this one from -113 on FanDuel. It's available on multiple sportsbooks for varying odds. And I'll be honest, on this one, the data is not absolutely fantastic. This prop is all about the matchup for me. Looking at the season data so far for Terry Rozier, he had a pretty solid start to the year, but since then has really tailed off. He cashed in each of his first 4 games, but since then has only cashed it in 1 of his last 8. Overall, a 42% hit rate this year, 5 out of 12 games, averaging 16.58 points plus assists per game. Now, as to why this number is where it's at, there's a couple of reasons. Tyler Hero's having a really solid year for Miami. He's kind of taken over a lot of the shots, a lot of the ball-carrying duties here. You see just 6.3 potential assists per game for Rozier, so not a lot of assist opportunities. He is playing a decent amount of minutes, almost 32 minutes a night for the Miami Heat. But the other key thing is he's just not shooting the ball very well. He's averaging about 12 shots per game, which is a decent amount of volume here, especially for a prop at this line. But he's only shooting 38% from the floor so far this year. He's just not shooting the ball well at all. Even last night, you saw last night versus the Pacers, 4 for 12 shooting, just 33%. That's kind of the key reason why his numbers aren't hitting. Look at it earlier in the year. Now, he didn't have a great shot percentage in that game, but 58%, 44%. There's also higher volume in shots in those games. The encouraging thing I would say is that the fact that he's still getting a lot of minutes, he's still taking around 12 shots a game. That's the important thing. Yes, the shots aren't necessarily falling. He's not cashing the over consistently, but the volume is there that can show us that he could hit this line if he just shoots the ball a little bit better, maybe even gets a little more assist opportunities. But again, like I said, guys, overall, this is about the head-to-head data. However, he did cash an 82% hit rate overall last year, 50 out of 61 games. He cashed the over, averaging 25.36 points plus assists per game last season. And look at the minutes. He played slightly more minutes. He did take a few more shots, but the key thing, he shot 44% from the floor. So overall, yes, he was taking about 3 or 4 shots more per game, but he also was shooting the ball better with those shot opportunities. But like I said, all about the head-to-head data here. Rozier's cashed this over in 3 consecutive meetings with the Philadelphia 76ers. He's averaging 19.5 points plus assists per game. Now, that average is a little bit lower than it should be because he had one really bad game when he was with the Charlotte Hornets back in December of last year. But in each of his last 3 cashes, he had at least 21 points plus assists. As a member of the Miami Heat, he was 2 for 2. He did have one last hit as a member of the Hornets before he got traded. But overall, each of his last 3 meetings, he cashed the over, putting up pretty solid numbers in those games. Looking over the Sixers overall this year, they are 15th in points allowed, 14th in assists allowed, but defensively versus the point guard spot, they have struggled. One of the worst defensive teams in the NBA against the point guard position, bottom 5 in both points and assists allowed. The 3rd worst team, 28th in the NBA, gave up 26.3 points per game this year. It's a really solid head-to-head spot because of the injuries with Philadelphia. You've seen Kyle Lowry play a lot of minutes. That is a really, really, really good matchup for Rozier going up against Kyle Lowry. So I like the spot here for Rozier. I know the data has not been great, but it's all about the matchup here. Give me Rozier over 17.5 points plus assists. And guys, we have 3 picks left, but we're about to hit the 9-minute mark in today's video. If you are still watching at this point, please comment 9 down below. I appreciate all those who do watch all the way through. I'm going to give this opportunity to go ahead and say one more time. Please make sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. We've been doing fantastic here on the channel, guys. Obviously, we've had some issues with the original channel. We're on the second channel now for a little while. We're almost at 13,000 subscribers already on the new one in only like 2 weeks, which is absolutely absurd. It's crazy. You guys have been fantastic with the support. And we're rewarding you guys. We had a really good this week on NFL. I don't know if you guys have watched. The viewership on the Oracle has not been what I think it should be considering how we're doing. We went 11-2 this week on our single bets. We're now 65, 38, and 3. That's not bullshit. I'm not blowing smoke up your asses. That is my legit record. You can go through all the videos and watch them over. I'm 65, 38, and 3 on my NFL picks this year, guys. I've been crushing it. We had another 11-2 day yesterday. Make sure to go ahead and check that out. Subscribe to the channel. We have a ton of great football content between myself, Ev, and Trey. So much great stuff, including the NBA stuff with me and Ev. So much great stuff going on here on the channel, guys. So make sure to go ahead, like, subscribe, comment, support the channel in any way that you can. All right, guys, our fourth pick in today's slate. We're moving on to the Wizards-Knicks game, 7:30 p.m. tip-off, and this is an old reliable. I bet this, I think, a couple times this year already. We're going Jordan Poole of the Wizards under 7.5 rebounds plus assists. This is available from -111 on FanDuel. Now, Jordan Poole was on a nice little cover streak there for a little bit. He had but overall, a 67% hit rate on the year. 8 out of 12 games cashed the under again. That little stretch there, the 11th, the 13th, and the 15th, over that like 4 or 5 day span, he had actually cashed the over in all 3 of those games. However, though, overall, a 67% hit rate this year. 8 out of 12 games, he's cashed the under, averaging 6.75 rebounds plus assists per game. This was a line they cashed a lot last year, too. A 58% hit rate last year, 45, out of 78 games he cashed the under, averaging 7.12 rebounds plus assists per game. So overall, this data looks really solid across the board, and the head-to-head data is even better. Each of his last 3 meetings with the New York Knicks, all dating back to last year, he cashed the under, averaging 6 rebounds plus assists per game in those matchups versus the New York Knicks. And it is a really solid matchup here overall. The Knicks are the best rebounding team in the NBA in terms of not giving up a lot of rebounds. They only give up 39.5 rebounds per game to opposing teams. So if you're playing the Knicks, do not expect to grab a ton of boards. They're middle of the road, 16th in assists allowed, which is okay, not great. We look at versus point guards, though. They are top 5 in both rebounds and assists allowed. They don't give up many rebounds or assists to the point guard spot. Jordan Poole obviously bounces around between point guard and shooting guard. He plays a lot of point guard with this team, but he is technically a shooting guard. Doesn't matter. Versus shooting guards, they are also top 10 in both rebounds and assists allowed as well. So overall, really good data there for Jordan Poole. For -111 odds, too, really good value. Give me the under 7.5. All right, guys, our fifth pick in today's slate. When we run to the Rockets-Bucks game, 8 p.m. tip-off, we're going Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks over 11.5 rebounds. This is for -130 odds on FanDuel. And the data, really solid this one as well. A 67% hit rate so far this year for Giannis. 8 of his last 12 games, he's cashed the over this year, averaging 12.33 rebounds per game this season. Narrowing it down a little bit, he's cashed this in 6 of his last 7 games with some really, really high numbers. Look at the last 5 games. 4 of his last 5 is an 80% hit rate, averaging 11.6 rebounds per game. So really good numbers, especially of late for Giannis. And the head-to-head data is absolutely fantastic. Each of his last 2 meetings with the Houston Rockets, of course, dating back to last season, he cashed the over, but some really big cashes, averaging 17 rebounds per game against the Houston Rockets last season. So far this year, overall, the Rockets, they're a bottom half of the league team. They're not the worst, but they're not very good. 19th in rebounds allowed, giving up 44.4 rebounds per game to opposing teams. Now, Giannis is one of these guys who is really tough to kind of put into a position. If I had to, I'd probably say power forward, small forward, roughly. The Rockets 21st in rebounds allowed against power forwards, 11.3. They are 14th in rebounds allowed to the small forward position, 7.6. Whatever way you spin it, they're middle of the road / bottom half of the league team in terms of rebounds. Giannis, he had 17 rebounds in both meetings last year with Houston. I think it's a really good spot for Giannis here. He needs 12 rebounds to cash the over. He's hitting it at a 67% hit rate so far this year, 80% over his last 5 games. I think it's a really good spot. Give me the over 11.5 rebounds for Giannis here. All right, guys, on our 6th and final prop in today's slate, we have Warriors-Clippers, 10:30 p.m. tip-off. We're going James Harden. We had this last night, and it hit for us. We've hit it a couple times this year, but we're going with it again. James Harden over 14.5 rebounds plus assists. Again, -130 on FanDuel. It is also available on Caesars for a little bit more juice there. But again, like all the props I've shown you today, except for maybe the Terry Rozier prop, we've had an over 60% hit rate on the season thus far. In the 14 games, he's cashed the over in 9 out of 14 games, a 64% hit rate, averaging 16.36 rebounds plus assists per game so far this year with the Clippers. And the matchup is a pretty solid one as well. He's cashed the over in 3 consecutive meetings with the Golden State Warriors. It's a 60% hit rate over his last 5 meetings with them, averaging 15.8 rebounds plus assists per game. Now, he had a couple of misses early last year with the Clippers, but the last 3 meetings, including one time this year, they met on October 27th. He had 11 assists and 7 rebounds in that game. Some really big performances against the Warriors. Overall, this year, Golden State 25th in rebounds allowed, bottom 5 team in the NBA, giving up 45.8 rebounds per game to opposing teams. They are 9th in assists, though, so they're not bad in the assist category, but in the rebound category, pretty darn bad. James Harden kind of fluctuates between point guard and shooting guard. He's technically a shooting guard, but again, with this Clippers team, he plays point guard a lot. Versus point guards, the Warriors 25th in rebounds allowed, 9th in assists allowed, and versus shooting guards 26th in rebounds allowed, 10th in assists allowed. So whatever way you spin it, they give a lot of rebounds to the guard position. So Harden, who had 7 rebounds the last time they played on October 27th of this year, I expect him to get in that realm of 5, 6, 7 rebounds again. He had 11 assists the last time they played, so even though they have good assist numbers, Harden did have 11 assists, and he's averaging pretty good assist numbers overall this year. If you look at the assist marks here for Harden, he's averaging about 8.5 assists per game so far this season. I say that it's not the best matchup of all time, but it's a solid matchup, and again, it's a line that he's been cashing for the majority of the time this year. So I like the spy here for James Harden over 14.5 rebounds plus assists. So there you have it, guys. Those are all 6 picks in today's NBA slate. Thank you very much, as always, for watching, guys. One more time, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. Had the hiccups there at the end. Apologize for that. Hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, drop a comment down below, guys. I really appreciate you guys subscribing and supporting the channel and watching the videos. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to Ev and Trey and everybody here at Guy Boston Sports. I'll be back tomorrow with another NBA player prop video. But until then, guys, I hope you're all winners. Enjoy your money. Let's have a fantastic week. Let's make some money this week, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.